Hi, this is Shinjay, and coming up we have Prachi Ranjan who will be helping us navigate our way into the world of Indian scientists. India has witnessed the rise of science since prehistoric era and its great scientists like Dr. C.V. Raman and J.C. Bose. So, without any further delay, I would like to call on Prachi to enlighten us about the scientists and their exceptional achievements.
Good morning to our honorable guest present here. Today I, Prachi Ranjan of class 10, on behalf of Delhi Public School Siliguri, is here to put some light on our great scientists from the past. Without any further ado, let's begin. The first scientist I would like to talk about is Shubha Tole. She was born in August in 1967. She is an Indian neuroscientist professor and principal investigator at the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in Mumbai, India. Her research involves investigating the development and evolution of the mammalian brain, and she has won many accolades for her work. She is famous for having discovered a gene that is crucial to the proper formation of the hippocampus, amygdala, and cortex of the brain, winning the Infosys Prize in the Life Sciences category in 2014. Next up, I would like to talk about M.R.S. Rao. He is an Indian scientist who was born on 21st January 1948 in Mysore. He has been awarded the fourth highest civilian award, Padma Shri, in Science and Engineering category by the Government of India for his immense contribution in school. He is known for chromatin biology and cancer biology. Coming up next is Chandra Sheikhara Venkataraman, commonly known as C.V. Raman. He was born on 7 November 1888. He was an Indian physicist known mainly for his work in the field of light. He discovered that when light traverses a transparent material, some of the deflected light changes wavelength and amplitude. This phenomenon was a new type of scattering of light and was subsequently termed as the Raman Effect. He won the 1930 Nobel Prize in Physics and was the first Asian person to receive a Nobel Prize in any branch of science. Next up, let's talk about APJ Abdul Kalam. He was born on 15th October 1931. He was an Indian aerospace scientist and politician. He served as the 11th President of India from 2002 to 2007. He thus came to be known as the Missile Man of India for his work on the development of ballistic missile and launch vehicle technology. He also played a pivotal organizational, technical, and political role in India's poker all-2 nuclear tests in 1998. He the first since the original nuclear test by Indian 1974. Next up, Charutsita Chakravarti was born on 5th of May 1964. She was an Indian academic and scientist. She was a professor of chemistry at the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi since 1999. In 2009, she was conferred Shanti Swarup Bharat Bhatnagar Prize for Science and Technology in the field of chemical science. Ms. Charutsita Chakravarti has been working in the fields like theoretical chemistry and chemical physics, classical and quantum Monte Carlo, molecular dynamics, structure of dynamics of liquids, water and hydration, nucleation, and self-assembly. Next up, Asima Chatterjee. She was born on 23rd of September 1970. She was an Indian organic chemist noted for her work in the fields of organic chemistry and phytomedicine. Her most notable work includes research on Winsa alkaloids and development of anti-epileptic drugs and development of anti-malarial drugs. She also authored a considerable volume of work on medicine plants of the Indian subcontinent. She was the first woman to receive a Doctorate of Science from an Indian university. Thank you so much for your patience. I would like to end my speech with a beautiful quote. Science knows no country because knowledge belongs to humanity and is the torch which illuminates the world. Science is the highest personification of the nation because the nation will remain the first which carries the furthest the works of thought and intelligence. Thank you very much.
Forest fires, cloudbursts, rise in sea level, threat to wildlife, acidic oceans are just some of the byproducts of global warming. Despite a lot of evidence, world leaders around the globe fail to recognize the depth of the situation. Children like Greta Thunberg have become an active member of bringing this issue in mainstream media, and we have Aritra Das to do the same.
When it comes to climate change, you must be the change you wish to see in the world. A very good morning, respected viewers. Today, I, Aritra Das of Class 9I, have received a wonderful opportunity to speak about greenhouse effect and global warming. A greenhouse is an enclosure usually made of glass in which the temperature inside is higher than outside. An increase in the percentage of greenhouse gases that prevent the escape of heat from the earth would increase the average temperature on the earth worldwide, known as greenhouse effect. When the sunlight enters the earth's surface, the sun's energy is absorbed by land, water, and the biosphere. Some of the sun's energy is reflected into the atmosphere by the earth. Some of the energy passes back into the space. However, most of the sun's energy remains trapped in the atmosphere. Some greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, chlorofluorocarbon, methane, nitrous oxide, and ozone. An increase in the concentration of these greenhouse gases leads to the increase of trapping of long-wave radiation, increasing the Earth's temperature. This phenomena is known as global warming. Global warming occurs when carbon dioxide and other air pollutants and greenhouse gases collect in the atmosphere and absorb sunlight and solar radiation that are bounced off the Earth's surface. Effects of global warming are rise in sea level, melting of glaciers and polar ice caps, increase in heat-related diseases, increase in growth of parasites and pests, increase in precipitation and decrease in soil moisture content, and extinction of some plants and animal species. And how can we prevent global warming? By minimizing the use of fossil fuels like petrol, diesel, etc., using energy efficient devices in automobiles and appliances, using recyclable and reusable products, reusing home wastes to save energy. So it can be said that greenhouse effect and global warming are dangerous for our mother nature, and it can only be terminated when we have the sense to protect our mother nature. I would like to conclude with a Native American quote: we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. Thank you.
Experimental physicist C.V. Raman is one of the brightest minds that India has ever produced and that the world has ever seen. We learn dedication and hunger for knowledge from him. So, here is a documentary on the first Asian person to win a Nobel Prize in any branch of science.
Welcome everyone. Today I Ayushi Jha is here to give a brief introduction on National Science Day. National Science Day 2021. National Science Day is commemorated in the honors of Sir C.V. Raman for his legacy who discovered Raman effects on 28 Feb 1928. So it is important for us to know about Sir C.V. Raman. Doctor C.V. Raman was born on November 7, 1888 in the Madras Presidency in British India. In 1919, Raman was elected as the Secretary of Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science. In 1929, British government knighted him. Thereafter, he came to be known as Professor Sir C.V. Raman. But it was quite a few years later when this day was officially declared as National Science Day. The National Council for Science and Technology Communication made a proposal to our central government to observe National Science Day every year on 28 February to commemorate C.V. Raman's great historic discovery Raman Effect. Thereafter, our government agreed to their declaration in 1986. Thus, in 1987, on February 28, the first National Science Day was observed countrywide. In 1930, Sir C.V. Raman was awarded with Nobel Prize in Physics, respectfully awarded with first Bharat Ratna award in 1954 for his experiment on scattering of light. The discovery later was christened as Raman Effect. His research shows why the color of seawater looks blue. Raman Effect is about the flexible distribution of photon particles. This is Dr. C.V. Raman explaining Raman Effect to his colleagues. Objectives of celebrating National Science Day. National Science Day is celebrated to spread a message about the importance of science used in the daily life of people, to display all the activities, efforts, and achievements in the field of science for human welfare. It is celebrated to discuss all the issues and implement new technologies for the development in the field of science. Also, I would like to add one more point. It also gives us an opportunity to present our capability in front of our respected teachers.
So let's have an overview of the Raman effect. So in 1921, Professor C.V. Raman was on a trip to Europe when he noticed the striking blue color of some icebergs and the Mediterranean Sea. The blueness of the sky also came to his mind, and he was very much inspired to want to understand the reason behind these phenomena. So he conducted experiments with transparent blocks of ice and light from a mercury arc lamp. He recorded the spectra from shining the light through ice and detected what would come to be known as the Raman lines caused by the Raman effect. The Raman effect is the process of scattering of light particles by molecules of a medium. The medium can be a solid, liquid, or a gas. The scattering occurs due to a change in the wavelength of light as it enters the medium. When a beam of light travels through a dust-free, transparent chemical, a small part of the light emerges in directions other than where it is supposed to be. The light consists of particles called photons, whose energy is directly proportional to the frequency which they travel. When they strike the molecules in a medium at very high speeds, they bounce back and scatter in different directions depending on the angle with which they hit the molecules. Most of these scatterings are elastic. The photons retain their energy and are deflected with the same speed with which they hit the molecules. However, once in a while, the molecules of the medium that the light passes through absorbs or gives energy to the photons that passes through it. The light particles then bounce around with increased or decreased amount of energy, and based on the relation E equals to hf, their frequency also changes. So if frequency changes, then so does wavelength also. So this means that light refracted from a body like the Mediterranean Sea or an iceberg or the blue sky also can appear to be of a different color. The Raman effect, the intensity of the Raman effect is very feeble, is very weak when measured. For a liquid compound, the intensity of the affected light is just 1 part in 1 lakh of the incident beam of light, the beam of light that falls on the medium. The pattern of the Raman lines is characteristic of the particular molecular species, and its intensity is proportional to the number of scattering molecules in the path of the light. Consequently, the use of Raman spectroscopy has been subject to obstacles because of the limitations in instrumentation, the quality and the efficiency and the precision of the instruments used for uh, in Raman spectroscopy, and not exactly by the lack in theoretical understanding. So this gave birth to a field of Raman spectroscopy, which has extensive applications around the globe and across many fields. It is used both in quantitative and qualitative analysis. The effect has been exploited by both chemists and physicists in determining chemical bonding structures, characterizing materials, determining temperature, finding out crystalline orientation, identifying pharmaceutical chemicals, discovering counterfeiting drugs, identifying pigments in old paintings and historical documents, and also for the examination of samples, certain gas samples, for many other possibilities using and most of the time laser beams are also used in this procedure, giving rise to many complex techniques. And lastly, Raman effect can also be used to detect bombs using lasers from a large distance, ensuring safety of the people who are investigating. So it can identify potential explosive materials, chemicals, by detecting changes in the energy levels, in the vibrational energy level states in response to the illumination given by the laser lights. So this is sort of like a fingerprint signal only based on the composition of the materials. So if the composition of if the signal indicates that the composition of the material inside something is something of an explosive nature, then it can easily be neutralized from a large distance without having any risk to human life. So let us talk about India's growth in science after 73 years of independence. India has made considerable progress in the field of science and technology. India's achievement in the field of agriculture is commendable. We have achieved self-sufficiency in food grains. The work done by the Indian Council of Agricultural Research and other agricultural colleges and universities has helped greatly in stepping up the production of food grains and other essential products. Dr. M. S. Swaminathan's contribution in the field of agricultural sciences deserves a special mention. He brought forth the Green Revolution in India. The White Revolution was also led by Dr. Verghese Kurian, the social entrepreneur who established Amul in 1949, which made India one of the largest producers of milk in the world. Our scientific and industrial manpower is the third largest in the world. Industrial plants at Bhilai and Bokaro, for example, produce large quantities of raw materials that are extremely significant and needed to be used in many other fields. Facilities for health have increased. Many medicines required in our hospitals are now made in our own country. Even artificial valves required for malfunctioning hearts are also manufactured and implanted in our country itself. Doctors now operate on delicate and risky parts of our body, like the heart and the brain, with routine precision. Doctors hailing from India are highly respected all around the world. India is now the world's fourth largest military power, with the largest and most sophisticated arms manufacturing base in the third world. India manufactures fighters, tanks, and infantry combat vehicles. The Department of Atomic Energy renders extremely essential service to the nation. Atomic research is carried out at the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, or BARC. BARC has 4 research reactors and produces more than 350 radioactive products. Other nuclear power stations under the Nuclear Power Corporation Limited produce electricity. We have achieved remarkable progress in space research. We launched our first satellite named Aryabhatta in May 1975, followed by a second satellite named Bhaskara 1 in 1979. The Mars Orbiter Mission MOM, also called the Mangalyaan, was launched on 5th November 2013 by ISRO. It made India the 4th space agency to reach Mars, and that too on its maiden attempt. Even now, ISRO is one of the top nations or the top space organizations in this field of astronautics.
Thank you, respected Principal Ma'am, for enlightening us with her valuable words. The endowment of science is never ending, cascading down from the omniscient wisdom, enthralling the inhabitants of the earth like never before. It is a privilege to witness the brainstorming session on the reflection of glorious scientific achievements by our friends, whose knowledge and rational mind not only amazed us but also bowed our head in reverence. I would like to extend my warm gratitude for their participation, which made this occasion a solemn affair. It is my heartfelt desire to see all of the spectators here reach the pinnacle of science in their own endeavors. Era of future, and the future seems to be bright. Our generation is all set to pose for a bigger challenge in future, where scientific knowledge and technology would herald a new beginning from the perspective of human welfare. Last but not the least, our prayer and best wishes would enlighten your path. Thank you.